Learned that former President Donald Trump faces more than 36 charges connected to how he handled classified documents. Prosecutors unsealed the indictment just a few hours ago.
Trump faces more than 30 charges for keeping classified documents, along with one count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. The indictment says pictures show piles of boxes that allegedly had classified information inside Trump's Florida home. It also says the former president showed the documents to other people and directed his legal team to destroy them. The lead investigator on the case says the DOJ is to hold everyone to the same standard.
Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced.
Trump dismissed the charges as a political witch hunt. He is the first former president to ever face federal charges. He's summoned to appear in court for an arraignment next Tuesday. We are learning new details today about the couple at the center of a reported active shooter call to a Spectrum call center in Greensboro yesterday.
WFMY News 2's Amber Lake was in the courtroom as both suspects appeared just a few hours ago. So Amber, what did you learn?
Guys, investigators say Jaslyn Ingram is a former Spectrum employee. She received a call from HR Wednesday telling her that if she did not come to work yesterday on Thursday, she would be fired. Officials say that Thursday morning Ingram went in, but she resigned. After a follow-up email from HR saying she was no longer an employee, investigators say Ingram went to her car where her 2 children were, grabbed a gun, and went back inside the business. Greensboro police say at that point they responded to the Spectrum call center on North Regional Road for what came in as an active shooter call. Court documents say Ingram went inside the Spectrum building looking for the human resources representative who called her on Wednesday. She then held the employees hostage, according to court officials.
After a brief conversation, she left, talking about the defendant, left without harming any of the employees at approximately 11:26. She went out the same door that she had entered, and then when she was walking out, she still had the firearm. And at that point was when officers were arriving on scene and she was able to be taken into custody.
Now, Richard Ingram is Jaslyn's husband, and he also appeared in court today. Court documents say that he had a gun and failed to cooperate with police yesterday. The court raised his bond from $2,000 to $5,000. Jaslyn Ingram remains in jail as well under a $1 million bond. A judge also ordered both suspects to stay away from any Spectrum locations.
New at 4 o'clock, someone vandalized a banner outside of City Hall in Winston-Salem. The banner is in celebration of Pride Month, and when you look at it, you can see that it was basically cut in two. Mayor Alan Joines issued the following statement about it. I view this act as an apparent hate crime. I want to state in the strongest terms that the City of Winston-Salem and the City Council fully support Pride Winston-Salem, their upcoming events, and Pride Month. The city is acting swiftly to repair the banner in the interim and replace it with a new banner as soon as possible.
Little update on our weather here on this Friday afternoon. It's been another beautiful day for sure, but you might be able to tell just by looking at this image, it's a little hazier than we usually would expect here in North Carolina. You don't see that bright blue sky. Instead, it's kind of milky and muted a little bit. That's the situation in High Point and really across the Triad. Some of that wildfire smoke. It's not thick, but it is still around, and we have some of it. Our air quality currently at our reporting stations is mostly showing up in the moderate category, which means it's enough for you to notice it. Not really enough to be hazardous or anything like that, but we're still watching it. Over the weekend, I expect it to continue to improve. We do have yellow ranges for Saturday and for Sunday, but honestly, it should be getting better. So I don't think you need to worry about that as part of your weekend plans. The smoke dissipating from west to east as we go into tomorrow, and you can see how the winds are shifting. As I told you a couple of days ago, the winds will not stay like they've been. Now they're pushing that smoke out to sea and should keep most of it up in Canada from here on out. Temperatures are in the 70s. It's gorgeous this evening, and we'll have another cool morning for tomorrow. You're waking up to mid-50s for Saturday morning, but it will warm up. It's a perfect day if you can enjoy it. Lots of sun to go around. We're in the low 80s for your Saturday afternoon. And as far as the rest of the weekend goes, I do think on Sunday afternoon, we're going to want to watch the radar a little bit. A couple showers or thunderstorms could pop up from time to time. So we have a rain chance, not for tomorrow, but yes, for Sunday afternoon. And that will linger linger a little bit into Monday. That'll be our medicine for the week, to take a little bit of rain showers there. Warming up, staying kind of warm and humid next week with highs in the 80s and lows in the 60s.
Some of the biggest names in the Republican Party are in the triad this weekend, all gathered for the North Carolina GOP convention.
Of course, former President Trump, former Vice President Pence, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis are speaking at the event, or are scheduled to, and we will be there for it.
We have crews at the Quarry Convention Center right now. Hannah Jeffries will take a look at the feeling around Greensboro, but first, Ben Briscoe gives us a breakdown of the events planned for the weekend. Hey, Ben.
There is so much excitement out here among the Republicans of North Carolina. They're actually selling buttons that say, "I was there," and then they have all three of the main speakers' pictures on them. And in fact, logging into the convention, the head of the state Republican Party sent out this letter to everyone, and it says, "Their presence speaks to Old North State's role as a leader on the national stage. I know they will have a lot to say that will inspire and motivate us to fight for the values that make North Carolina and this country fantastic." Now, the first speech is going to start here at 6:30. That will be the Florida Governor, Ron DeSantis, speaking. I will be here through all the speeches, both today and tomorrow, when former Vice President Mike Pence and former President Donald Trump will speak as well. And I want to know, what do you want to hear from them? I put on my Facebook page this question. Please go on there, let me know so I can really get you the answers from them that you want to hear. All you have to do is search for Watchdog Ben. In the meantime, we do know that the candidates will try to stand apart. Of course, they're going to hit all the traditional Republican values and why they're the best candidates for that, but they're also going to focus on their own individual issues. So we are expecting a lot of people to turn out for this, more than 2,000 Republicans across the entire state. It is closed to the public, but again, we will be here to cover it all for you. We're also going to be streaming the speeches if you want to watch it from home. All you have to do is go to the WFMY YouTube page and WFMYnews2.com. Again, the first one kicks off at 6:30 tonight.
That's right. Ben and I have been here for about an hour now, and I'm coming to you live from the third floor of the convention center. And this is where a lot of the action really is taking place and happening right now. As you can see in the hallway, we have an outskirt, lots of tables along the outskirts of the hallway supporting different candidates, and right here especially different groups and organizations. Now, at some of these tables, you can pick up certain merchandise, maybe a button or a t-shirt for your favorite candidate. And there are a few people at each table just talking simply right now. On the way in earlier, there was also a few people, but like I said, there are a lot of people inside the convention center at this point. And this area is only expected to get more congested as we inch closer and closer to that speech from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis that Ben had mentioned. Ben, back to you.
Hannah, thank you so much. Of course, the big event that most of the public cares about is the DeSantis speech today at 6:30, and then tomorrow, Vice President Pence will go first, and then President Trump. However, this is also a working convention for the Republicans out here. Right now, they are in executive committee talking about all the business of the party. They've also had training on election integrity, how to recruit more Hispanic voters, and how to raise money. It is a very busy afternoon out here.
All right, Ben, we'll check in with you a little later. Also today, President Joe Biden and the First Lady have arrived in North Carolina. They're meeting with military families to talk about job training programs at Fort Liberty. President Biden will also speak in Rocky Mount as a part of his Investing in America agenda. Cooper announced a new initiative to encourage more people to get into teaching. The state will now cover costs for licensing exams and any prep work needed beforehand. Cooper says North Carolina has more than 5,000 teacher vacancies. He hopes the new initiative removes any financial barriers for someone hoping to get into the classroom.
An update now. Work continues today on a Winston-Salem bridge that was damaged last month when a truck crashed into it. DOT is working with contractors to get the Clemensville Road bridge fixed. Officials believe they will have the road back open sometime next week.
A lot of graduations are happening this weekend. Graduations will take place throughout the weekend. They will be held at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum and Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex.
Greensboro-based Samaritan's Purse is headed back to Ukraine to help after the latest attack. Ukraine's president is accusing Russian forces of blowing up a major dam in the southern part of the country. Now the Ukrainian people are finding themselves in the aftermath of a flooding disaster.
The collapse of the dam caused such mass flooding that it created some very specific challenges, and one of those is lack of access to clean, safe drinking water. Homes have been destroyed, essential networks have been damaged, and so our cargo on the DC-8 this morning is tailored very specifically to help address some of those needs.
Since the first day of the war, Samaritan's Purse has helped distribute more than 170 million pounds of food and 15 million gallons of clean water. We'll be right back.
A mother-son duo from High Point is encouraging young children to pursue non-traditional careers. They're referring to careers traditionally filled by one gender, and they're spreading the message in their new children's book.
Hunter Michaels is living out one of his wildest dreams as a performer on Broadway. The High Point native is currently a vacation swing for Wicked.
You know, boys are expected to maybe play soccer, play basketball, do all those things that boys are supposed to do. So I tried all of those things. And then one day I saw ballet on the news, actually.
At the age of 7, his mother, Robin, a former school teacher, enrolled him into dance classes.
And I think that as educators and parents, that's something that we should encourage, is to let children try things, find things that they love, and then encourage and help them along to do that.
Hunter's journey inspired the two to co-author the children's book, Hunter the Dancing Fox. The book follows a young fox who pursues a career in dance. Though he sometimes gets made fun of for being the only boy in his dance class, he keeps studying his craft until he grows up and moves to New York and lands his first Broadway role.
Non-traditional careers is something that lots of boys and girls don't know about. And finding your passion and doing what you love is something that they need to be encouraged. So the message is not to make fun of others when they're doing something that's different than you.
The duo hopes their book will motivate children and adults to dare to dream.
Our relationship as, mother and son has always just been so wonderful. And I can say that I'm so grateful for having that support system.
We're on top of breaking news out of Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem police and Forsyth County officials are getting ready to give an update about the active investigation on Everidge Road.
Let's listen in.
To be able to say that today we were successful. We were able to find what we believe will be the remains of Aaron Wood. We have notified his family to let them know that we believe we've recovered his remains. And I just can't tell you enough how the effort of Chief Penn's officers and homicide detectives out here made this all possible. Trying to bring peace to a family that has long wondered about what happened to their loved one. We appreciate your patience out here. We know you've had a lot of questions all week. We hope you understand we had to maintain the integrity of the investigation. We're going to be limited in what we're able to tell you today, but I'm going to turn this over right now to Chief Penn and let him fill in a few more details for you. Chief Penn.
Good afternoon, William Penn Jr., WILLIAMPENN Jr. As the district attorney said, in July of 2020, officers began investigating a missing person who was Aaron Lee Wood, white male, date of birth 7/28/75. Acquaintances said that he had not been seen or heard from since 2019. He worked construction, so it was usual for him to go away, but it was unusual for him to have not contacted acquaintances during that time. So in July 2021, the homicide unit for the Winston-Salem Police Department began investigating this case as a homicide as they received information that his disappearance was not voluntary. Further evidence suggested that Aaron Wood was deceased and buried at 400 Everidge Road where he had been working. Further investigation led detectives to believe that he was killed and buried on the property. Earlier this week, personnel with the police department, Dr. Ross at North Carolina State University, North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office, City of Winston-Salem Field Operations, and Utilities Division, as well as Jim O'Neill, our district attorney, began the process to locate and exhume Mr. Wood. On today, remains believed to be Mr. Wood were located on this property. Efforts are underway to confirm the remains and cause of death. At this time, the case is being ruled as a homicide, being investigated as a homicide. Police department would not have been able to locate who we believe to be Mr. Wood if it were not for the assistance Dr. Ross and her team at North Carolina State University, the North Carolina Medical Examiner's Office, K9 Rigby and her handler, the City of Winston-Salem Field Operations and Utilities Division, our District Attorney Jim O'Neill, and the cooperation from the community. The property owner here at 400 Everidge Road has been highly cooperative in this investigation, and let me make it clear, is not or has not been involved in a disappearance. Approximately 1:15 p.m., the Winston-Salem Police Department SWAT team took Kenneth Evan Cox, white male, date of birth 6/3/1975, into custody at his home address at 5540 Spainhour Mill Road in Tobaccofield, North Carolina. Mr. Cox has been charged with concealment of human remains believed to be from an unnatural death. He's being held at the Forsyth County Detention Center under a $1 million bond. His first court appearance will be on June 12, 2023. The Winston-Salem Police Department would also like to thank the media and the community for their understanding of the slow release of information necessary in order to make notifications to the families of those involved and to protect the integrity of the investigation. I also want to thank the dedicated detectives and officers out on the scene, their commitment to ensuring this investigation was thorough and indeed protecting the integrity, and our forensic techs who've been out here the entire time, as the district attorney said, during the heat, long hours of the day, making sure that justice was served. At this point, no other information will be released pending results from the autopsy. And I also want you all to remember this case is ever evolving, and as updates come to play, we'll let you all know.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Can we get a copy of the statement?
There will be something coming out. We'll be releasing a
All right, so we just got an update from officials about that Everidge Road investigation, which we have been wondering what is going on that piece of property in Winston-Salem for several days now. So here's what we learned really quickly. Aaron Wood was reported missing in 2019 from his friends. They started the investigation, though, somewhere around 2020 or so. This week, Winston PD got info on where Wood's body may be located.
Yeah, it led them to the site where they had been digging all of these days. Today, they found those remains. Woods' family has been notified.
Yeah, and so from what we learned from this, he was a construction worker and he was working in that area at that time of his disappearance. Police have arrested, it says Kenneth, I thought, Evan Cox.
Yes.
Is that right?
Kenneth Evan Cox.
Okay, and charged with hiding remains and an unnatural death. You know, this is unfolding as it goes, so we're learning more bits and pieces as it goes along.
Yes, they said they're still confirming the cause of death, but the investigation remains as a homicide. And then Kenneth Evan Cox, his first court appearance is supposed to be June 12th of this year.
Okay, so we're going to continue to follow this case, especially through this afternoon as we're getting more and more details. And we're going to bring you updates on air and on WFMYnews2.com as well. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Tim Buckley with you. We're looking ahead to your weekend forecast, and on a Friday afternoon, it's hard to beat the weather that we're having right now. It's in the 70s and sunny. Now, earlier today, you might have been just wondering what's going on. This is not normal for June. Of course, our average low is in the 60s, but many of us waking up to temperatures in the 40s. That is basically in record territory. The record low for today's date was 46. Now, that's at PTI in Greensboro, where the low is 50, but we had lots of temperatures a little cooler than that. Some chill in the air for a change this time of year. We had a nice sunrise also, but there is still that hazy smoke in the sky. We're almost done with it. It'll be going away by tomorrow. Clear sky remains locally. There are some scattered showers if you're traveling north, but other than that, we are dry for tonight and for tomorrow. High pressure moving offshore a little bit for your Saturday, and what that'll do is it allows us to warm things up. We'll get more of a southerly wind for tomorrow, boosting us into the low 80s, and then by Sunday the warmth and humidity combine to bring a rain chance. It's not going to rain all the time, but there will be a couple of scattered showers, maybe thunderstorms to finish off the weekend. So for your plans tomorrow, best day to be outside, lots of sunshine, a little more comfortable, a little less humid, and it's a nice day, 82. Sunday, warmer, more humid, and that will mean some scattered thunderstorms at times, especially for the afternoon hours. Keep an eye on that. Monday has a good chance of rain as well, but most of next week will be warm and humid with highs in the 80s.
Tonight is National Movie Night, and there are tons of ways that you can take part. You can make a movie bucket list. You can host a movie night with the fam or the friends. Find the nearest drive-in theater. I think there's one in Rockingham County. And a buffet of your favorite movie snacks, and sit back and just relax.
That sounds great for the weekend. Well, this got us thinking, if your life was a movie, what would you title it? I asked you on Facebook. Larry McCraw said he knew better, but he done it anyway. Mary Spivey, what did I do? LaTroy Lockett, I have no friends in the workplace. Elliot said unfinished. Earl Ellis, The Forgiven Heart. Devonna Hairston, The Woman of Faith. Those are some good, very deep sounding names.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or something.
Nice, which I
That's
love, which
my
is
whole
so
life.
funny.
Just meatballs and weather.
I said I had to think about this one. I said the title of my movie would be Learn From It. Learn from it, because I feel like I've been through so many things, and I've been able to learn from those lessons, or I've made certain mistakes, and instead of feeling shameful or upset, I've learned from it. I feel like that's an ongoing theme for my life.
It's an inspirational film.
Learn from it.
That's
Coming in
Yes.
theaters this December.
Take your friends.
How about you?
I don't know. It's
Thought
kind
about
of
this?
funny. Yeah, it's like little red-haired girl goes on to an adventure, right? It's like
Something about adventure sounds
something
right.
adventure. Yes. And maybe it could be in different stages of life, like up to the mountain and down to the water, and then all the kind of things.
This is like a caper movie.
Yes.
You're just going all over the place.
Yes.
I do always feel like whenever I hear music on the radio or music anywhere, it's a part of my life soundtrack.
Oh yes,
I feel that.
you do. And you just play that in your head.
Yeah.
Then we need to think of like actresses to play y'all in this movie.
I would get Simone Biles to play me.
Wow.
Because
Okay.
a lot
I
of
can
people
definitely
say that
see
we
that.
look alike or that we're
yeah, I
sisters.
can absolutely see
People always
that.
say, you remind me of the flipping girl, like
There's got to
whatever.
be some flips.
Yeah.
We got to see that.
How about the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I don't know. Anybody.
Ben Stiller.
Sure.
He's got that. He's got a good jawline.
Well, you're getting Reba. I'm already saying that.
Oh,
Reba,
yeah,
it's
the red
happening.
hair.
All right, we'll be back. Think of your movie.
Yo, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mic check, Brad. It's almost time to go home. Maybe a little La Bamba tonight? La Bamba. No?
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Tim Buckley and Tanya Rivera.
Yeah, here on a Friday.
It is a Friday. How we doing?
I'm doing great. You know,
right.
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Thank you.
You don't get much better than that.
No, it's true.
My
And this
trainer
nice weather,
said you don't tell people you're doing good because good means average.
Oh,
Wow.
so be better than average.
Yes.
All right, and the
I'm
weather's a
gonna
little
be
bit better than
stressed out
average.
about what I'm telling people now. I gotta up my game.
Yeah, you can't
I
just
gotta
say I'm
think about
fine.
it. I know, it's a throwaway line, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is.
All right. Well, I'm doing exceptionally.
Good,
Hopefully.
good. How about the weather? Is that acceptable?
I mean, it's pretty great. We have great
Better
weather.
than
We're
it
still
was.
watching the smoke, and we'll give you an update on that, how that impacts your weekend a little bit.
All right.
Ready? Switch it over to some news now. We have learned the names of the people killed in a double homicide in Stokes County. The Stokes County Sheriff's Department identified Jarrell Claiborne Coleman Jr., 60, and Richard O'Neill Joyce, 66, as the two people killed last Friday. They were found on Meridian Drive in Pinnacle. Investigators arrested Visnu Fernandez, who is charged with 2 counts of murder. Investigators said the men had cuts on their bodies and injuries consistent with physical assault. They are waiting for an autopsy results to confirm how they died. The sheriff's office said Fernandez is being held without bond.
The DEA says a new drug started to dominate the drug trade in North Carolina. It's called xylazine, and it's an animal tranquilizer.
This map shows all the counties in North Carolina where law enforcement has found it in our state. That includes 5 from right here in the Triad. The UNC Drug Lab says almost a quarter of all drug samples the last year had the drug in it.
Now, Colin Miller works at the drug lab. He told us almost all illegal drug samples in the Philly area have xylazine in them, and that North Carolina could be on pace for that as well.
North Carolina is more than likely headed for where we see Philadelphia.
Law enforcement says the drug is often getting mixed with fentanyl. Xylazine is not an opioid. That means that first responders cannot reverse an overdose.
Friday afternoon, feeling extremely comfortable outside. It's very, very comfy to be outdoors right now. We do have that haze though, and you can really see it by looking at the skyline. Notice how everything is just kind of a little bit of a milky color here. You don't have that definition to the blue sky that we usually do. We're at 75 though, hard to beat that with low humidity. It is comfortable. Again, we'll say that. Nice weather for your Friday evening. Same story in High Point here, but you'll also notice that little bit of a haze. And this sensor, by the way, is just totally out to lunch. I have no idea why it's saying it's raining. It's not, and that's not our fault. That's the sensor, bad sensor. We have air quality here in the yellow category. That's really pretty good compared to where we were a few days ago. Overall, just a little bit of smoke particles in the air, and that's kind of what we're expecting over the next couple of days. Nothing too hazardous to be outside, so you can keep your plans. Temperatures are in the upper 70s elsewhere, and we're having another cool night of weather. Just like this morning, temperatures will bottom out in the low 50s, and even maybe an upper 40 here or 2 in the rural areas. For tomorrow, it's just as gorgeous as today. We're in the 50s in the morning, low 80s for the afternoon. It will not rain. You do not have to worry about a Saturday for a change. In the forecast, though, we go toward your Sunday. That is when there's a better rain chance, especially after lunch. I think by dinner time is when we could see a few scattered showers or thunderstorms. I'll show you a future radar coming up in a few minutes.
All right, we are less than 24 hours away from the Wake Forest Demon Deacons baseball team moving a step closer to the College Baseball World Series. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey spoke with one of the Deeks' biggest fans as they look to make history.
Joseph Johannes has been a fan of Wake Forest athletics for as long as he can remember. His grandfather introduced him to the Demon Deacons in the early 90s, and since then, he's been hooked ever since. Johannes told me that for the last decade, he does his best to make it to just about every home game on the schedule for Wake. However, in arguably the most successful season of the last half century for Wake Forest, Joseph says he unfortunately fell short of that mark.
Schedule didn't line up a couple of times, but I think I'd average somewhere in the 20 to 30 range. There was a couple of years there where I literally made about every single home game that they had. So, but it was a little bit more difficult this year. I had a couple of family occurrences that we had to go take care of, and then so I missed a couple series back to back, and I was like, man, this is tough.
Starting tomorrow, the Deeks baseball team looks to win their first Super Regional in program history and get back to the College World Series for the first time since 1955. Johannes is still thrilled about last weekend's results and can't wait to see what this weekend has in store.
Past 10 years, I've been absolutely hooked on Wake baseball. So, you know, just seeing their progress, especially over the last 2 years, it's been amazing to see. So I was ecstatic about last weekend. I thought they might lose one game and, you know, get out of there, but I was definitely not expecting how dominant they would be, but they did it.
Game 1 of the Super Regional will take place tomorrow at noon as they take on Alabama, and unfortunately for Johannes, he will not be in attendance, but it's for a good reason because he'll be coaching his son's team this weekend instead.
Oh,
love that. Love that.
Beautiful weather for it.
Oh, it's going to be perfect.
It's going to be good for baseball.
I can't wait. I'll be out there, and I can't wait to see the Deeks roll.
It's so exciting to see Wake Forest getting all of this attention. Because, you know, sometimes a school can get overshadowed by, you know, NC State or like Duke or UNC. So this is really great for the school.
It is, and just the success that they had all year long. Clearly the best team in the country, both offensively and defensively. It's all come together last week in the regional, so now 2 more wins away from Omaha. And
I love that you just said they're going to roll, as in roll, Tide, roll, Alabama. Okay, just roll right over Alabama. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you got your antennas. I like that.
All right, great story. Well, plans to start playing high school athletes or paying them for their names, image, and likeness are being paused. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association says while its board passed an NIL policy, the final decision is up to the State Board of Education. In a statement, the Athletic Association said, quote, "We have been told by the State Board legal staff that without specific legislative authority for emergency rulemaking, the State Board is unable to act on adding an NIL provision to propose eligibility rules in a way that would make them effective for the upcoming school year. They say it could take up to a year for the Board of Education to adopt the NIL policy." Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, not a problem. Short to the point. I am talking about video voicemail.
Apple's new iOS 17 operating system, which will be released in September, has a new feature where iPhone users can leave a video message for unanswered FaceTime calls. No more missed notifications. Instead, you can see and hear the person who's leaving you a message. So this got us thinking about how communication changes when you can see someone. This is what Blanca Cobb and I are talking about today. So Blanca, how can a video message impact communication?
A video message can make your message a little more personal because you can not only hear, but you can see the person, you can see what they're doing and where they're at. So it's that little added touch of personalness.
So you say that video message can help improve a person's on-camera skills. Kind of break down and explain what that means.
Absolutely. When you're jumping on a video voicemail. What you're doing is impromptu. You're not thinking about, you're not scripting, you're not rehearsing, you're just getting on. You're like, hey, what's up? I'm sorry I missed you. Whatever it is, look where I am. So it's that personal element, but because it's relaxed, it's not rehearsed, then it'll make it easier to transition if you ever have to do virtual calls or more business calls on Zoom, for those who don't like to do that.
So I love being on camera, but for those who are uncomfortable leaving a recorded video voicemail, what are some tips?
All you have to do is be yourself, just like on audio voicemail, right? This is where you're going to smile, you're going to look into the camera, and you're just going to talk, say what's on your mind, show them where you are, whatever it is you want to convey. But here's the only caveat. Just like an audio voicemail and a video voicemail, just be sure whatever you're recording, you'll feel comfortable with somebody sharing.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, Blanca, for the advice. You can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, body language expert. We'll be right back.
Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is me, currently doing receive and a review at the same time.
Every living legend has to start somewhere, right? Well, for LeBron James, it was in Akron, Ohio, where he and his friends played for St. Vincent St. Mary.
Now a movie on the streaming service Peacock chronicles their early years. Our film critic Manning Franks has the scoop.
We, as humans, find the story of the underdog incredibly compelling, and even James began his career as such. But does the shooting star reach high enough to justify a 2 approved? Let's hop into the court and see. I'm calling this the year of the basketball film. After Air made its streaming debut, another basketball film about a living legend, Peacock released its own movie, Shooting Stars, about the origins of LeBron James during his teenage years in Akron, Ohio. The question is, though, Is this basketball drama / history lesson one that is a compelling slam dunk or an embarrassing airball?
We here because we know what we're capable of. When you look back at this time in your lives, it won't be the stat. It'll be that person next to you.
Based on the book Shooting Stars, the film is the inspiring true story of LeBron James and his childhood friends, the Fab Four, as they shoot for the stars. In the late 1990s, the story follows these teenagers as they join St. Vincent St. Mary High School basketball team with the intent to become the greatest Fab Four around. As the team shoots up in the rankings, James begins to distinguish himself from his teammates, resulting in a rift that could dissolve their friendship for good. There is something so clearly inspirational about sports dramas, especially those about the underdog. While at times terribly telegraphed, Shooting Stars has enough heart to fill a basketball court. The film offers a comfortable, if not dangerously shallow, retelling of LeBron's early life that feels like a series of boxes being subsequently checked. You can almost hear the story beats hit their mark like a basketball dribbling across the court. It's familiar, yet nothing special. The saving grace of Shooting Stars, ironically or not ironically depending on how you look at it, is the versatile and kinetic sequences of the basketball games themselves. A mix of intense slow-mo, dynamic drone shots, and flashy editing grabs your attention, unlike everything else surrounding it. That includes the actors, all across the board. They can't really save a script that's painfully basic. Yet despite the straightforward nature of the film, one can't complain that it doesn't, at the very least, show up to play. Shooting Stars, unlike LeBron James, can't really distinguish itself from the pack of sports dramas we've had in recent memory. Sure, it's a feel-good, inspirational drama that gets the job done, but it lacks that spark that the Fab Four in the film claim they have. I'm giving Shooting Stars a for you to decide. You can stream it only on Peacock.
All right, folks, hopefully you're having a good Friday so far. It got off to a really cool, almost chilly start, didn't it? Take a look at this. 40s for lows in the rural areas, almost unheard of for June. Not completely, but it is rare, that's for sure. Our record low for the day is, well, 46 degrees, and look at Boone. This is nuts. 37 there this morning. Very, very cool for sure. Now, it was a beautiful start to the day also. We had a really nice sunrise, still some smoke in the air, so if you want to take a peek later on this evening about 8:35, that's when the sun goes down. There probably will be another pretty interesting looking sunset because that smoke kind of filters the light in a little bit of a strange way. Now, we have clear sky locally. There are a couple of showers in Virginia, but not expecting any of those to impact us. We'll stay dry for today, dry again guaranteed for tomorrow. High pressure is in control, and one thing it'll be doing, we've been really cool this week. As it shifts farther offshore, we're going to start to transition into a more typical June weather pattern. What that means is high pressure off there, we have south winds that move in, it brings in some heat, it brings in some humidity, and we'll start to feel like summer again, which we haven't done much of yet this year. I'm expecting low 80s for Saturday. By Sunday, with humidity moving in and warmth, we should be in the mid 80s there. And notice there are some showers and storms moving our way by Sunday afternoon. Most of the day around here, Sunday should be pretty dry. However, by Sunday afternoon and evening, let's say after 4 o'clock, there's at least a chance of scattered storms. This doesn't mean you have to cancel your plans. It doesn't mean you are going to get rain at your place, but it does mean it's possible. And I think there will be a few in our area. The better chance would be as you go west of Greensboro, a lower chance as you go east of Greensboro. That's the story for Sunday, and you can see the rise in humidity. Our dew points will be in the 60s to near 70 by Monday, and most of next week will be a bit humid. As far as the air quality goes, it's improved, and it should continue to improve this weekend. We'll get rid of that smoky sky, I'm pretty sure, by Sunday without too much problem. 7-day forecast, temperatures mostly in the 80s here. We're not having that cool weather any longer. It'll be warmer and more humid going into next week. Sunday afternoon and evening into Monday have the best chances for rain in our area.
Police say 33-year-old Jaslyn.
Hey, 5 o'clock coming up.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together.
Hi there, 123, part of Winston-Salem will be very busy this week.
Mic check, 1 2 3 3 2 1 1 2 3 3 2 1.
Hi, so sorry to bother you. Is this your computer? I'm gonna move it so I don't step on it, if that's okay. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Visiting different tables. Those tables out.
10-9-876-54-321, 10-9-876-54.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents. You know, I hate to end the work week with a peeve, but I'm old and cranky, and here we go. We're talking about cell phone conversations, phone etiquette, not even cell phone, just phone etiquette. So this happens with my twins. Now, they'll be 21 this summer, so it might be a generational thing, or it might just be that they're not doing this right. You know, a normal phone conversation. Let's say you call me. I answer my phone, let me get my cell phone, ring, ring, and I pick it up. What happens? I say hello, and then you say, hey, it's so-and-so. No. When my twins call, I go like this, and they go, hello, and I go, hello, and then he goes, hello, hello, and I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm supposed to say hello first, and then you address it. I know it's little, but again, I'm cranky. So that's number one. Number two is I have a buddy, and multiple people do this. They can't end the conversation with good social cues, a good exchange. So when I start okay, buddy, good talk, let's plan, blah, 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 I'll see you later. And then you say, bye, bye. No, when I start that ending, that wrap up, okay, but, okay, this is what he said. Okay, all right, bye, okay, bye. I'll see you, okay, have a good talk, good day, good talk, what? And I'm just like, what? And then half the time I just go, bye, and I just hang up. I don't want to hang up on him, but it never stops. So I know you know those people, because there's more than one in the world. And then my last one is the people that really aren't listening to what, and this can be in person too, right? The people that aren't listening to what you're saying, they're thinking about what they can say next because they got to keep that convo going. And so I'm like, as a result, it's just a lot of me starting a sentence. You know, the other day I was at the mall, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, what? There's no conversation. Basically, I'm just listening to a complete stream of babble and waiting for a break to say goodbye. So it could just be that I'm getting older and cranky, and I am, but a phone conversation, think about this, should be an exchange, a back and forth. I say something, you say something, I say goodbye, you say goodbye. See, like right now, this is how it should end. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now. Now you can hang up.
We begin with breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. Winston-Salem police recover a body after digging at a former horse farm on Everidge Road for 5 days.
They believe the victim was last seen in 2019. Police also made an arrest. WFMY News 2 Sydney